Welcome to the deep dive, everybody. Today we're going to exploring Ripple and XRP. We've got articles, white papers, even some, heated takes, maybe.
Yeah, it's kind of a spicy mix.
Yeah, spicy is a good word for it.
Yeah.
Where do you even want to begin with this one? I mean, it's a crypto project that's working with banks.
Yeah, you don't see that every day.
No, not really the, disrupt everything vibe you normally get.
Like a very different approach. It's more like, hey, we can make what you're doing even better.
Yeah, more like a collaboration.
Exactly.
So how did this whole Ripple thing even get started?
Well, we have to go back, way back to 2011. So Bitcoin, it's gaining traction, but you've got these three engineers, David Schwartz, Jed McCaleb, and Arthur Brito. And they're looking at it and they're like, maybe there's a better way to do this. Maybe we can make a digital asset specifically for payments, address some of the things they saw as limitations in Bitcoin, like energy consumption, scalability, things like that.
So they weren't totally sold on Bitcoin as like the ultimate solution.
Yeah, I think they saw the potential, but they also saw room for improvement. They also had this idea of what happens if one person or a small group of people control too much of the network? So they came up with the XRP ledger.
Okay, so that's 2012.
Yep, 2012. And then soon after that, they team up with Chris Larsen, big name in fintech, and they start OpenCoin, which later on becomes Ripple.
Okay, so that's the company. But where does XRP fit into all of this?
XRP is the digital asset, the cryptocurrency that runs on the XRP ledger. And it's designed for speed, low cost. We're talking 3 to 5 second settlements.
Wow, okay.
It's meant to be this bridge currency, making global transactions smoother and faster, especially for financial institutions.
So is it only for banks then?
No, not at all. Individuals can use XRP too. It's about $2.40 right now, by the way. But yeah, it's meant for anyone who needs to move money around the world.
Interesting. So it sounds like there are a lot of moving parts here. How does this whole system actually work? What makes Ripple tick?
Well, at the core, you've got the XRP ledger, which is a decentralized public blockchain.
Meaning?
It's open to anyone. It's not controlled by a single entity. It's maintained by a global community of developers, businesses, and users. And get this, it's been running for over a decade without any errors.
A decade? That's a pretty good track record.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive, especially for a financial system.
So if anyone can join the network, how do they make sure everyone's on the same page?
That's where the consensus algorithm comes in. It's this ingenious way of keeping all the nodes in the network in sync, agreeing on transactions, basically making sure everything runs smoothly, and that's how they avoid those forking problems some blockchains run into.
So it's like a self-governing system.
Exactly.
Okay, I think I'm starting to get the picture. Well, we've got to talk about the elephant in the room, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Ripple's whole thing is working with banks. How does that actually play out in the real world?
Right. So instead of trying to replace banks, they partner with them using the XRP ledger and XRP to make cross-border payments better, faster, cheaper, more efficient.
So everybody wins.
At least that's the idea. It's a bold strategy for a crypto project.
Yeah, most are all about, disrupting traditional finance, not joining forces.
Right. But Ripple's thinking is, why reinvent the wheel? Chris Larsen, one of the founders, believes that working within the existing system is a faster path to widespread adoption. He sees blockchain as this tool for enhancement, not destruction.
It's a very different philosophy, that's for sure.
For sure.
But I have a feeling not everyone's happy about it. I mean, I've seen some headlines about Ripple and regulators. It sounds like they're not exactly best friends.
Yeah, there have definitely been some challenges navigating the regulatory landscape. The SEC, especially in the US, has been, let's just say they haven't been thrilled.
What's the issue there?
The SEC's argument is that XRP should be classified as a security, not a currency. And that would mean a whole different set of rules, potentially throwing a wrench into Ripple's plans.
And what does Ripple say about that?
They're fighting back, saying, hey, XRP is a decentralized currency. It shouldn't be treated like a stock.
So, a bit of a standoff.
You could say that. Brad Garlinghouse, their CEO, is leading the charge. And he's not one to back down from a fight.
No, I've heard that. So how's all this playing out, in the real world? What's the impact on Ripple and XRP?
It's definitely created some uncertainty, some volatility. Some investors are holding back, waiting to see how things shake out.
I can see why. So what's Ripple doing in the meantime?
Well, despite all this, they're still moving forward. They're expanding into DeFi, decentralized finance, with their stablecoin RLUSD, which is about to be integrated with Chainlink. That's a big step, opening up a whole new world of possibilities.
DeFi is huge right now.
It is. And then there's talk of an XRP ETF, which could be massive.
An ETF, what would that mean for XRP?
It could make it much easier for everyday investors to get in on the action. You could see a surge in demand, potentially driving up the price.
So even with these regulatory battles going on, Ripple's not slowing down. They're diversifying, innovating, pushing the boundaries.
Absolutely. And there's a whole other layer to this that we haven't even touched on yet. The XRP ledger itself.
Oh, now you've got me curious. What's so special about the XRP ledger?
Well, it's not just about XRP. It's this whole ecosystem with its own set of features and potential, like tokenization.
Okay, this gotta wait though. We're out of time for this part of the deep dive.
So tokenization is one of the things that makes the XRP ledger really interesting.
Yeah, tokenization. That's what's behind NFTs, right? All those digital art things.
Exactly. NFTs are just one example of what you can tokenize on the XRP ledger.
What else can you tokenize?
Well, basically, you can create a digital representation of anything of value, like stable coins. Those are cryptocurrencies pegged to real-world currencies, right? You can have tokenized real estate.
Tokenized real estate, what does that even mean?
Think of it like a digital deed to a property.
Okay, so you're basically creating a digital twin for a real-world asset.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. And the cool thing is, the XRP ledger has all these built-in features to make it really secure and efficient for managing these tokenized assets, like escrow, for example.
Escrow. Isn't that something you do when you buy a house?
It is, and it works the same way on the XRP ledger. It's like a secure holding place for funds until certain conditions are met.
So how does that work with, say, tokenized real estate?
Let's say you're buying a property that's been tokenized. The payment can be held in escrow on the ledger, and the seller won't get it until the property transfer is officially recorded. It just adds this extra layer of trust and security to the whole process.
That makes sense. So it's like having a neutral third party, making sure everything goes smoothly.
Exactly. And that's just one of the features that makes the XRP ledger so versatile. There are also payment channels, which are pretty cool.
What are those?
So imagine you're streaming a movie or playing an online game. Payment channels allow for these tiny, continuous micropayments without clogging up the blockchain with every single transaction. It's like having a running tab.
Okay, that's pretty clever.
Right. It's all about efficiency. And then you've got smart contracts.
Oh, right. You mentioned those earlier.
Smart contracts on the XRP ledger work a bit differently than, say, Ethereum. They're based on these conditional escrows we were talking about.
I see. So you can set up an escrow that automatically releases funds when certain conditions are met.
Exactly. It's like this automated agreement, you know? It can handle really complex transactions without any manual intervention.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. Imagine a supply chain, right? You've got goods being tracked on the XRP ledger as they move from the factory to the warehouse to the store. You could have a smart contract that automatically pays each party along the way as soon as the goods are verified as received at the next stage.
Wow, so it streamlines the whole process.
Exactly. And that's really at the heart of what Ripple's trying to do, make the financial system more efficient, more automated.
It's a pretty ambitious goal.
It is, but they're making some serious progress.
So we've talked a lot about the applications, the technology, but what about the people behind it all? Who are the key players in the Ripple ecosystem?
Well, first you have the founders, of course. David Schwartz, Jed McCaleb, Arthur Brito, and Chris Larsen. They're the ones who had the initial vision and built the foundation for everything that came after.
Right, and we talked about Chris Larsen and his kind of philosophy behind Ripple, but who's running things now?
The current CEO is Brad Garlinghouse. He's a big name in tech, been around for a while, and he's been a very vocal advocate for XRP and Ripple's vision.
Yeah, I've seen his name in the news a lot. Seems like a bit of a controversial figure, especially with his views on Bitcoin and the whole crypto space.
He definitely doesn't shy away from speaking his mind. He's been critical of what he calls Bitcoin maximalism, the idea that Bitcoin is the only cryptocurrency that matters. Garlinghouse believes in a more diverse, inclusive crypto ecosystem, and he's not afraid to challenge the status quo.
Which I guess is in line with Ripple's whole approach, right? They're not afraid to work within the system, collaborate with traditional institutions, even if it ruffles some feathers in the crypto community.
Exactly. They're doing things their own way, which is bound to create both supporters and critics.
That's for sure. So let's switch gears for a minute and talk about the practical side of things.
Yeah.
What if someone's listening to this and they're thinking, okay, this sounds interesting. I want to get involved with XRP. What are the first steps? What do they need to know?
Well, the first thing you need is a digital wallet that supports XRP. There are a lot of options out there, both hardware wallets for maximum security and software wallets if you want something that's more convenient to use. Once you've got a wallet set up, you can buy XRP on a cryptocurrency exchange. It's a pretty liquid asset, so you shouldn't have trouble finding an exchange that lists it.
Okay, so you set up a wallet, you acquire some XRP. What can you actually do with it?
Well, the most basic use case is sending and receiving payments, just like any other cryptocurrency. But Ripple's vision is much bigger than that. They're aiming for a future where XRP is integrated into every aspect of the global financial system. Transactions between banks, businesses, individuals, all happening seamlessly all over the world.
That's a pretty ambitious goal.
Yeah.
Realistically, how far away are we from that kind of future? What are the hurdles that Ripple still needs to overcome?
There are definitely challenges ahead. The regulatory landscape is still a bit uncertain, especially in the US with that SEC case still hanging over them. And there's always competition from other cryptocurrencies and blockchain platforms. But, Ripple has a pretty solid track record. They've built a really strong technology with the XRP ledger, and they're always pushing the boundaries with new initiatives, like their move into DeFi.
It sounds like they're not afraid to take risks and experiment.
No, definitely not. They're not just sitting back and waiting for things to happen. They're actively shaping the future of finance.
Okay, before we wrap up this part of the deep dive, there's one more thing I wanted to ask you about. You mentioned something earlier about algorithmic trading on the XRP ledger.
Oh, yeah.
Can you break that down for me? What exactly is algorithmic trading, and why is the XRP ledger particularly well suited for this type of trading?
Well, it's basically using computer programs to do your trading for you.
So instead of me sitting there clicking buy and sell, it's all automated.
Exactly. The algorithm takes over. It executes trades based on, preset rules, market data, all that stuff. It takes the emotion out of trading, which a lot of people say is a good thing.
So you're basically letting a robot do your trading for you.
Kind of, yeah. The idea is to make more rational decisions based on data, not on gut feelings.
Okay, that makes sense. But why is the XRP ledger good for this type of trading?
A few reasons. First, XRP is really liquid, so there are always buyers and sellers. That means you can get in and out of trades quickly, which is important for algorithmic trading. Second, transactions on the XRP ledger are super fast and cheap. And when you're making a lot of trades, those fees can really add up, so that's a big plus. And third, the XRP ledger is really transparent. All the transaction data, the order books, it's all out in the open. That allows traders to develop and test their algorithms, make sure they're working properly.
So it's a good platform for data-driven traders.
Absolutely.
But what about the risks? I mean, it sounds like you could lose a lot of money if you're not careful.
There are definitely risks. Like with any type of trading, you could lose money, especially with crypto being so volatile.
So it's not a magic bullet.
No, not at all. You need to know what you're doing. You need to be able to write the algorithms, and you need to manage your risk carefully.
Okay, that's good advice. What about the legal side of things? Are there any rules about algorithmic trading on the XRP ledger?
It's kind of a gray area, to be honest. It depends on where you are, what the regulations are in your jurisdiction. Some countries have specific rules, others don't. It's always a good idea to talk to a tax professional. Make sure you're doing everything by the book.
So it's not a free-for-all, but it's still kind of the Wild West out there.
Yeah, it's a new and evolving space. Just got to stay informed.
Okay, so algorithmic trading on the XRP ledger, it's high risk, high reward. Not for the beginner, but potentially very profitable if you know what you're doing.
That's a good summary.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground today. We started with the basics of Ripple and XRP, dug into the technology behind the XRP ledger, even explored some of the more, cutting edge stuff like tokenization and algorithmic trading.
Yeah, it's been a deep dive for sure.
It has. And I think the big takeaway is that Ripple is doing things differently. They're not just trying to disrupt the financial system, they're trying to work with it to make it better.
They're bridging the gap between the old world and the new world of finance.
And they're doing it with this bold vision of a future where XRP is this global bridge currency, making transactions faster, cheaper, more efficient for everyone.
A future where value can move freely and seamlessly across borders.
Exactly. It's an exciting vision, but it's not without its challenges. The regulatory landscape is still uncertain, the competition is fierce.
True, but Ripple has a track record of innovation. They're constantly pushing the boundaries.
And they're not afraid to fight for what they believe in.
That's for sure. Brad Garlinghouse is a force to be reckoned with.
He is. So for our listeners out there, what's the message you want them to take away from all of this?
I think the main thing is to keep an open mind. The world of finance is changing rapidly, and Ripple is right at the forefront of that change. They're challenging the status quo, pushing the boundaries of what's possible with blockchain technology.
It's a story that's still being written, and it's one that we'll continue to follow closely. So stay curious, stay informed, and keep exploring.
Until next time.
Intenta la censura y la manipulación. Como la red no depende de un pequeño grupo de mineros poderosos, es mucho más difícil para un solo actor controlar o censurar las transacciones.
Eso suena como una gran ventaja, especialmente en un mundo donde la censura en línea es cada vez más común. Ahora, sé que ninguna tecnología es perfecta, y el XRP Ledger probablemente también tenga sus limitaciones. ¿Puedes hablar de algunos de los retos o críticas que se han planteado?
Una de las críticas más comunes es que el XRP Ledger no es tan descentralizado como algunas otras blockchains, la dependencia de las UNLs y el hecho de que Ripple todavía posea una gran cantidad de XRP han llevado a algunos a cuestionar el grado de descentralización de la red.
Ya veo. Es un debate complejo y no hay una respuesta fácil. Hay otras preocupaciones o retos que debamos tener en cuenta.
Otra preocupación es la escalabilidad. Si bien el XRP Ledger es capaz de procesar un gran volumen de transacciones, todavía hay dudas sobre si puede manejar el mismo nivel de actividad que redes como Visa o Mastercard.
Eso es un factor importante a considerar, especialmente si Ripple aspira a convertirse en un actor importante en el sistema financiero global. Bueno, creo que hemos cubierto una cantidad impresionante de información sobre Ripple y el XRP Ledger. Hemos hablado de la batalla legal con la SEC, su enfoque en DeFi, su relación con los bancos, el funcionamiento del XRP Ledger e incluso algunas de sus limitaciones.
Ciertamente hemos adquirido una comprensión profunda del proyecto, sus ambiciones y los retos a los que se enfrenta.
Pero como siempre, hay mucho más por explorar. Y para ti, nuestro oyente, la aventura no ha hecho más que empezar. Realmente hemos profundizado en el mundo de Ripple, en esta inmersión profunda. Hemos analizado su tecnología, ambiciones, desafíos e incluso controversias.
Sí, desde la mecánica del XRP Ledger hasta la batalla legal con la SEC, su incursión en DeFi y la visión para los pagos internacionales, hemos cubierto mucho terreno.
Ahora me imagino que nuestro oyente debe estar ansioso por seguir explorando por su cuenta. ¿Qué recursos recomendarías para alguien que quiera profundizar aún más?
Bueno, si quieres sumergirte en el aspecto técnico, xrpll.org es un excelente punto de partida. Encontrarás documentación detallada, guías para desarrolladores, incluso ejemplos de código.
Genial. Para los que quieren ensuciarse las manos.
Exactamente. Y si te interesa más el lado práctico, el explorador del XRP Ledger es una herramienta indispensable.
El explorador.
Sí, puedes ver las transacciones en tiempo real, analizar el historial del Ledger e incluso explorar la distribución de XRP entre diferentes cuentas.
Suena potente. Como tener una ventana al funcionamiento interno de la red.
Así es. Y para mantenerse al día con las últimas noticias y análisis, Criptonoticias es un recurso imprescindible.
Criptonoticias. Los sigo a Twitter, son geniales.
Su cobertura del mundo cripto es excelente y siempre tienen información actualizada sobre Ripple y XRP.
Un sitio web para añadir a los favoritos, sin duda. Ahora, antes de concluir nuestra inmersión profunda, me gustaría dejar a nuestro oyente con una pregunta para reflexionar.
Me parece una idea estupenda.
A lo largo de esa inmersión, hemos visto cómo Ripple está desafiando las normas del sistema financiero tradicional, buscando un futuro donde las transferencias de valor sean más rápidas, eficientes y accesibles. Pero también hemos visto cómo se enfrentan a obstáculos regulatorios y a críticas sobre su grado de descentralización.
Sí, un tira y afloja constante.
Exacto. Entonces, la pregunta que me gustaría plantear es: ¿logrará Ripple superar estos desafíos y alcanzar su visión de un sistema financiero global más conectado e inclusivo?
Esa es la pregunta del millón, ¿no? Solo el tiempo lo dirá. El futuro de Ripple, al igual que el de todo el ecosistema cripto, es incierto, pero sin duda será fascinante de presenciar.
Ahí está la emoción, ¿verdad? En lo desconocido. Es un mundo de posibilidades donde la innovación avanza a pasos agigantados y las reglas del juego se están reescribiendo constantemente.
Totalmente de acuerdo. Y para aquellos que se atreven a explorar, a cuestionar, a desafiar el status quo, las oportunidades son ilimitadas.
Qué gran frase para terminar. Así que, querido oyente, te invitamos a continuar tu propio viaje de descubrimiento en el mundo de Ripple y las criptomonedas. Investiga, experimenta y, sobre todo, mantén la mente abierta a las posibilidades que se avecinan. Gracias por acompañarnos en esta inmersión profunda y hasta la próxima.